Um, so I know that people will probably be filtering in. We had a bunch of people that registered. Here comes Vicky. Okay. So I'll tell you a bit about my relationship with Hathor. Back in 1996 in Egypt. Hi, Vicky. I was in the middle of a Reiki class. It was my first Reiki initiation, and the Reiki master was one of my dearest girlfriends. Her name was Maureen O'Shaughnessy. There was a girl in the class named Tara and a boy in the class named Mark. Tara and Mark were dating at the time. And the class was a Thursday, a Friday, a Saturday, and Sunday. It was 3 hours each day. And it was Sunday evening. And all day, the lights had been kind of flickering on and off, just, a little weirdness that goes on. And I'm lying on the table. Tara is behind me, and she has her hands in a position where her hands are kind of tented over my throat chakra. She's already had her hands over my eyes and on either side of my temple and behind in the different hand positions. And Maureen was on my right and Mark was on my left. And both of their hands were both on my body. So there were two hands above my breasts and then two hands that were just underneath my ribs. And they're conferring Reiki energy to me. We've all been given the initiations by Maureen. And my body starts convulsing, like I'm having these crazy little flashes. And I keep trying to say something. And Maureen said, I thought you kept trying to say the word Heather. And all of a sudden, out of what seemed like 10 o'clock in the sky, this golden beam of light comes and hits me in my third eye. And I sit up on the table and I say the word Hathor. And I ask for a pen and a paper and I write out her name, Hathor. And I draw this symbol, which is the sun disk with the cow horns that represents her. Now, this is 1996. There is no internet. There's nowhere to go. You can't talk to Alexa or Siri. I dare not invoke their names because it never stops. So the next day, Tara, who is a girlfriend of mine, Tara and I go to Barnes and Noble, which is, like our resident internet, the source of all wisdom and knowledge. And I say, do you know who or what a Hathor is? And they look it up, and she turns out to be the Egyptian goddess of women. And from that point forward, I started having all these past life memories of being a priestess at her temple. And, it began like this lifelong pursuit of all things Egyptian. And she has had a profound influence in my life. She's someone that I've been channeling, although I wasn't aware of. And I started my channeling journey back in 2016. In 2017, she came to me. I was channeling Athena at the time, and she said, "You're going to be channeling me." And I was like, okay, whatever. I figured they just kind of lined up. And boy, did I ever start channeling her. So Hathor has also, in addition to Athena and Hathor, there's also been Kuan Yin, there's been Mother Mary, there's been Mary Magdalene, there's been Jesus, there's been Archangel Michael. I channeled him this morning. That was really trippy. Channeled Sanat Kumara, Marcus Aurelius, just these beings, they come and they visit you. And I am an oracle. That is my soul code. I've been trained and I've been prepared for this for a long time. So Hathor came to me at the end of last year and she said, "I'm going to be teaching Egyptian high magic." And I'm like, "Ooh, that sounds juicy. What is that?" And she said, "Egyptian high magic is the true art of manifestation in which you manifest without incurring karma." And I thought, wow, wouldn't that be great? So I'm going to be bringing Hathor through, and I'm going to be channeling her. And she has a lot to say on the subject. She's been talking to me about it for a couple of days now, and she's been really, really vocal today. I want to give a quick shout out to Priestess Christina, who has been a friend of mine for many, many years. Her dad was a friend of mine, and out of that friendship, the best thing I got was Christina. And she lives out in, hi, baby, how are you? Christina is a bit of a phenomenon over on TikTok, and she and Priyanka and a few other blessed souls were in a coaching program with me at the beginning of the year. And she has just, no, at the end of last year, I think we started in August, and she has just blown up on TikTok. If you guys aren't friends with her, please look for her. She's a remarkable woman. It's so good to have you here, my love. I'm delighted that you're here in person. Let's see, what else do I want to say? She's going to explain what this is and how it works. And just know, like anything, it isn't something that you're going to necessarily pick up in a day. But what I can promise you is that she's going to let you know that this is a remembrance that you have. if you're here, you're not here by accident. If you're here, you're here by, let's say, soul appointment. So thank you all for being here. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. When I do my channeling, there's using some yawning involved, like this, as the energy starts to come in. So I'm going to do an invocation, and then I'll be bringing her forth. So please prepare yourself to, there'll be a portion where she's going to let you ask questions. And Christina, what is your TikTok name, babe? I forget. Like Soul Alchemy and Ascension?
It's Source Code Wellness.
I'm way off. Sorry. Source Code Wellness. That must be somebody else. So can you, there she is. Source Code Wellness. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. Christine, thank you for asking them. Okay. You ready? I'm very excited. And by the way, we're simulcasting on Facebook. So Priyanka, if you can keep an eye on Facebook, see if anybody has any questions. Thank you, my love. And just to let you know, both Hannah and Priyanka work with me. They are of my heart. I could not do what I do without them. So I want to thank them both very publicly for who they are in my lives. Okay, here we go. Greetings, beloveds. Beloveds, it is I who have been known by many names, and most predominantly I have been known as that of Hathor. There have been a myriad of incarnations and expressions of existence that I have held, where you and I have indeed had the opportunity, had the delight to live a coexistence. Each of you who are being drawn, each of you who are here present, and those of you who are watching, and those who shall watch at another moment in this time-space continuum, we are not strangers to one another. Beloveds, you have been the priests and the priestesses within the temples that have been known as the temples of Hathor, the temples that have been known as the temples of Isis, Dendera, many locations. Beloveds, know that our existence goes back beyond that to times that have not even been described here on this beloved Gaia, as well as portals through Sirius that allow you all to make your way back to Lyra, which is the star of origin for that which is known as the species you are now embodying in humanity. Know that you are a mixture, a hybrid, if you will, of souls that are considered to be extraterrestrial, those that are considered to be angelic, which are also extraterrestrial. Extraterrestrial meaning that there is a world that you had inhabited prior to this one. And again, prior is a term that I shall use loosely, beloveds, because it is actually one that you are inhabiting in coexistence with where it is that you are now. When it comes to this discussion of Egyptian high magic, understand, beloveds, that these are arts and these are sciences that you yourselves have studied, that you yourselves have been active in the co-creation and development of within this time-space continuum. Now, what has happened, beloveds, is there was much like a shaking of a cloth, and all of the crumbs have flown to distant aspects and portions of space and time, but there still exists within each and every one of you, you who are being drawn, for the bell has been rung and you have been answering the call, the clarion call. Understand that there exists within you the codes, the light codes, the frequencies for Egyptian high art of manifestation. And it works something like this. Within you, there have been, shall we say, deactivated aspects of a coding for manifestation that it is now incumbent upon each of you, beloveds, to reactivate. If you understand the way that the DNA strands work within the physical body, there are 2 strands that are active, and then there are some 10 others that are dormant. Beloveds, what you are being asked to do now is to begin to awaken that which has been sleeping. In order for you to be able to manifest, let us say, without incurring karma, as we had expressed to Sahana Grace, who is the nickname of this beloved channel, what we have expressed to her is that in order to bake a cake, shall we say, you will have a portion of egg and of flour and of flavor and all the different mixtures that make up a cake. But you are borrowing from the eggs, you are borrowing from the flour, you are borrowing from different things. And as you bake and make this creation, beloved, you are bringing forth a manifestation. But what you have done is you have taken something that belongs to someone else. The eggs of the chicken, let us say, belong to the chicken. Who said that anyone had a right to take them from said chick without her permission? What occurs here, beloveds, is that there is an occurrence of karma that happens because there has not been permission that has been granted. Much the way when there is deforestation that is happening, does anyone walk up to the tree and say, by the way, may we cut you down, murder you, and use you for money, use you for furniture, use you for building, use you for houses? The same is true, beloveds, of the food that you eat. Have you asked these beings, may we slaughter you and make you for bacon because we like our bacon and our eggs? Beloveds, the same thing happens with any manifestation. What you are being asked to do instead of feeling like you must take something from someone, and you know that feeling of having something taken from you that you have not granted your permission to, rather, here is the formula for manifestation that we would like you all to consider. As you allow yourself to come into silent repose, many of you call this manifestation, meditation. Manifestation of meditation is for you to come and to sit in silence. You allow that monkey mind that is constantly chattering, constantly going about, to begin to drift. You can do this through chant. You can do this through song. You can do this through breath. You can do this through movement. You can do this through sitting in silence. As you allow yourselves to come into the silent repose, beloveds, you are once again opening up to that which has remained dormant within you. You are once again opening yourself up to and allowing the very pure act of creation that flows within, as and through you, to become vibrant and alive. You think about what it is that you desire and understand, beloveds, that each and every desire that you have has been given to you and granted to you by Source itself. What you are meant to manifest, the song that you are meant to sing, the note that you are meant to be in the universe, the word that you are, the very element of existence that you are, beloveds, is the gift that you have to bring to all of creation. Beloveds, you see what it is that you desire, and you know that it is a desire that has come from Source itself. You then have within you the direction of how to bring that desire into manifestation. You will, in this moment of silence, in this moment of pure creativity, allow yourself to match yourself to the frequency of the manifestation of that which it is that you desire. You will look and you will search and you will say, ah, yes, here is what it is that I desire. You will allow yourself to move to that point within this time-space continuum, and you will come into a blended, wedded bliss with that manifestation. You will then bring what you have known to be your existence to that point of focus, beloved, and you will know that it exists for you. You will allow an unfolding to come forth. And then you will have ultimately, beloveds, a celebration of that very circumstance, of that very object, of that very frequency unfolding before your very existence. Beloveds, this does not incur karma, because indeed what this allows you to do is move to the space and the time and the place where it already exists without needing to say, I need to take money from you. I need to take energy from you in order for me to have this thing that I desire. Beloveds, understand that you have reciprocal relationships of energy exchange with many beings. Some of them do indeed feel that they are out of balance. There are more that you take from another, and there is more that others will take from you. You can allow all of this nonsense, if you will, to completely be arrested, to say, I will no longer give or take energy beyond the acceptable limitations. You do this from a place of scarcity, beloveds. You become frantic, you become fearful, and this is not necessary. There is so much that is meant for you. There is so much that is waiting in reserve for you, beloveds. All you need to do is go and seek it out. You will find someone and you say, this is going to be the man that will be the one to build me my dream home, to give me my dream castle, to let me have my dream children and my dream life. And then you look at your life and you say, this is not the home that I thought that I would have. I thought I would be living in a castle, and instead I'm in an apartment. This is not the dream man or woman that I thought that I would be with, for they should be throwing petals at my feet. This is not the dream body that I always believed that I would have. Instead, I look somewhat like a kumquat, when I thought that I would look like a goddess in repose, and people would be peeling me drapes and they would be fanning me. Beloveds, what it is that you have dreamt of, what it is that you have desired, exists within this universe for you. But you are so busy fighting yourselves. You are so busy saying, I cannot have what I want. I never get what I want. There is love, but it is not meant for me. I am meant to suffer. I am meant to toil. I am meant to be without. Then every once in a while, beloveds, you suddenly allow yourself to be a blip on the screen of happiness. Something unexpectedly comes your way. Understand that what has happened, beloved, is you have suddenly found your way back on your golden pathway. It is as if you have been traveling on the yellow brick road and you have wandered off into the woods, and then suddenly you come upon the path again. But beloveds, in the process, there is nothing that you need to take from another. There is nothing that you allow another to take from you. There is nothing that is yours that may be taken by another. If you have allowed this to happen, if you have allowed yourself to come into these cycles of abuse, if you have allowed yourself to come into these relationships where you say, I do not wish to be with this person anymore, but I cannot leave them, for it is better to be miserable than it is to be alone. Hannah Grace had lived in a marriage like this, and there came a day when she said that there had to be a better life, and she was right. Each of you have made your choices. It may be the jobs that you occupy, it may be the children that you have. The single greatest thing that any of you can do, beloveds, is to allow yourself to be grateful for all that you have. The desires that live inside of you, the very things that you want, are what you yourself are made to bring manifest to the universe. And they do exist in a temporal time-space existence that is waiting for you to wake up and say, it is now time for me to bring that to me. It is now time for me to go and the popular term these days, beloveds, is jumping timelines. It is now time for me to jump timelines. So jump one, and if that is not it, jump another and jump another. There are infinite timelines available for you, beloveds. And all you must do is will, with this God-given personal will, to have this made manifest for you. Now, there are various and sundry meditations that you may do to bring yourself to stillness, to bring yourself to quietude. But as long as you go in there with an intentionality, and an intentionality is an aim, much like when you go to shoot a bow and arrow or you go to shoot a gun. Intentionality, beloveds, is the aim that guides and focuses where it is that you are directed and where it is that you are headed. The first thing that you must do, beloveds, is you must come to know yourselves. Who am I? What is my sole purpose? What am I made to manifest? And if you do not have the answers to these questions, beloveds, go within. If there is something that is troubling you, if there is something that is bothering you, if there is something that you fear, answer and the solution to the resolution of all of that, beloveds, exists within your hearts, within your minds, the very minds of creation. Are you aware that every thought that you think manifests? Are you aware that every desire that lives within your heart is born? Are you aware the magical being that you are? Do you remember the goddess that you are? Do you remember the priestess that you have been in the temple? Do you remember the priests that you have been? Do you remember the magic that you yield, beloveds? It all lives within you. It lives within you as love. The key ingredient to all of this is, beloved, love. Whatever it is that you desire, you are meant to bring that forth. We would like to give you homework, beloved ones. And here's the homework. Make a list of that which you desire. Know that these desires are coming to you from your soul. And then pray upon this. Pray not as begging, beloveds, but prayer that is confident in the apparition and the manifestation of that which you desire. All that Egyptian high magic had ever done was train us within our minds to find the manifestation where it lives in existence, to call it forth to us now, to step into the reality where it already exists and have that be our new homes. You have merely forgotten, beloved ones. We are here to remind you. Now come, precious beings. Ask me what questions you may. It is time for us to engage in a conversation. And do not be afraid. I will not bite your heads off. I promise. Who would like to ask me a question?
Hathor, I would like to ask a question.
Beloved.
Thank you. You stated that we have been taking and taking and taking, creating karma. And is there a way that we can rectify that so that we are starting with a clean slate?
Indeed, beloved, we appreciate this question. There are a series of amends that can be made. If you know that you have overtaken in a relationship, if you know that you have squeezed that relationship dry, like a sponge that sits upon the sink and there is no moisture that is left, moisten that sponge, beloved. Make your amends and make your apologies. Give to others in the name of those you have taken from. Let the energy dynamic understand that in the universe, beloved, everything is energy. And the way that it manifests is what has been taken will be given back to. It is the ebb and flow of life. But if you know that there is one that you have taken from and say they no longer are living, you can pray for them and for their soul's ascension, even after the seeming disposal of the human body. You can donate in their name, you can tithe in their name, you can give in their name, you can ask for forgiveness and allow yourself to have it granted unto you. But if you know that there is a place, understand that many children, beloved, will take and take and take from their parents and then have resentment when their parents do not give to them. What is developed is something that is called the bread of shame, for it is what is given without having been earned. You can make a plea to the universe for anywhere that you have overtaken, that you are now allowed to give from your bounty so that you come into karmic balance. Does this answer your question, beloved?
Partly. I have one other aspect of this, and that's for someone who's still alive. Is there a need to do the forgiveness, the apology, the reconciliation in person? Is it less than to just do it spiritually? I appreciate anything you can advise.
Indeed, beloved, there is a belief that if a physical interaction would somehow cause upset for either party, then it is just as noble, beloved, to write an apology, to imagine the being sitting in front of you and to extend the apology. Understand that the energy dynamics are always received and always appreciated. So you must trust your own intuition with this, beloved, to know which would bring the most healing and which would cause the least harm.
Thank you. It's a beautiful answer. Thank you.
You're a beautiful being. We thank you. Beloveds, walk away with one notion and one notion only, and that is that everything you desire will indeed be made manifest for you. The time in which you allow that manifestation to come is dependent upon how willing you are to receive. If you can imagine that it is manifest in front of you, it will be. Do not be surprised if your manifestations are increasing in velocity. For we are coming to the end of what has been called a spiritual cycle. And in that, manifestation is indeed ramping up. The reason we are having this conversation with you is the more that it is that you have manifest, when it comes to the end of days, the less there will be a need for you to continue the cycles of reincarnation. When you can come and you can say, I have done everything that I wanted to do. I have done everything that I needed to do. I have made the amends, made the apologies, and allowed life to be as it is. There will not be then again the need for you to continue on this cycle. And believe me, beloveds, that would be to your benefit. More than that, we shall not say at this time. There are specific processes that can bring things to manifestation more quickly to you and for you. So Hannah Grace shall be bringing those forth in more classes to come, shall we say. But what we would like you to understand, beloveds, is that we are available to assist you in this dynamic. If you have come forth, you have a relationship with us, and we know you, we love you, and we are here for you. So we would ask you, beloveds, to call upon us by name and allow us to assist you and allow us to guide you in all that you do and all that you make manifest. Our blessings are upon you always, beloved ones. Greetings and salutations, and we shall indeed speak with you again. Hi. Hi.
Hi, thank you, Lynn. That was fabulous. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Libby. Very welcome. I hope that gave you guys some of what you were looking for.
It did.
Right on. Yeah, she's pretty extraordinary. So what are we doing next? Oh, welcome, Christina. I love you. There's a class that's coming up that's it's a 2-hour class in which we're going to be going into details and exercise and meditations for more of this. If that's anything that you're all interested in, I think Priyanka has the links for that. Sorry, I get a little what they call channeling head, a little woozy after she comes through. But
So
yeah,
Priyanka just dropped the link for our Egyptian High Magic class. If anybody wants to sign up. And for those of you who don't know, Lynn, when she channels, she goes into a completely altered state. So when she comes back, it's like she almost has no memory of what just happened. So anyway, if anybody isn't familiar with this, Lynn's kind of coming back to the group.
thank you. Whew. Yeah, I usually channel either Jesus or Mary Magdalene, and today it was Archangel Michael this morning, and then Hathor this afternoon. Does anybody have any questions? I don't know what I can answer right now. Any questions that are burning? Anything you want to know?
We're going to be able to rewatch this, right? I feel like there was a lot coming through really quickly. So I just want to make sure that I have a chance to check it out again and just absorb it.
Priyanka has a list of
yeah, I'll send the video replay if you've registered on the event. And also it's already on our Facebook group, so you can always watch the video replay through the Facebook group. But we'll also be uploading it onto our YouTube channel as well.
Beautiful, thank you.
Priya, which Facebook group? Is it the QLE?
Yeah, it's on the Quantum Living and it's also on the Soma Life group, both.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
She's saying that there was a lot of information that came through, that it definitely would warrant
On the event.
Oh, good. It landed on Facebook, that it would warrant another listening to with a notebook. She said she basically gave everybody the formula. Did it make sense? Okay.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
So Hathor is talking about going into meditation and finding the timeline where this thing already exists. I'm guessing in equilibrium, where it's already existing in equilibrium, and that's our access to obtaining or creating this thing that we desire without karma, right?
Yeah, the thing that she explained to me is that when we take anything from somebody, like there's a man and a wife that are married, and suddenly the secretary is having an affair with the husband, and then the husband leaves the wife and he ends up with the secretary. There's definitely karma that happens with that, versus that there is a man that was intended for you, and rather than taking something from somebody else, like just allow the universe to deliver to you what's meant for you, rather than trying to take from somebody else. And there are bosses and secretaries that live happily ever after, so go figure. Anyway, it's all just a game of knowing that what it is that you want is somewhere for you. And she says that every desire that we have gets manifest. In fact, she says every thought that we have gets manifest. So become really vigilant about your thoughts. Anyway, I thank you all for being here. If there's more information that you want, please reach out. I don't have questions at this time. I felt like I was at home and the message was perfect. Aw, I'm so happy for you, Jen. That means that you were definitely one of the priestesses at her temples, because that's just the way that it goes. Yeah. Are you a friend of Christina's?
Yes.
Awesome. Christina, I got the sweetest message from one of your other friends right before we began. I want to read this to you because it just put the biggest smile on my face. Her name is Katya Dmitrieva.
Yeah.
Said, hello, Lynn. I just wanted to say hi. We are both friends with Christina. Wanted to express my admiration for you and your beautiful spirit and your gifts. Have a great day.
Oh,
so precious.
I've been recommending you and raving about your work for so many months to Katya. You have so much in common in some ways, but certainly it was just something I've been talking to her about, that I felt like she should at some point connect with you. So it's starting. It's so cool.
Baby. Carol says she has a question. I have a question, but can I send you so you don't go over the top of a lot of here? Oh, we're fine, Carol. You can go ahead and ask.
Okay. She was talking a bit at the end about the end of the spiritual season, and that we really don't want to have to reincarnate again. And this is a big concern for me. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I don't know. It's a conversation. She's like, you better wrap everything up. So I've been making lists of people to forgive. I've been making lists of things I have to get done. I thought I was in a home for a long time, and literally the landlord sold the home and I had to move in like 3 weeks. And I just went over to my storage place, like I have everything in storage. And Archangel Michael said to me, would it be okay if you never opened another one of those boxes? And I said, yeah. Like the most important things to me are my family and my little fluffy gray cat Astro. And, you know, I'll always be able to find hairbrushes and toothbrushes and, you know, lipstick and jewelry. And, you know, I'm just kind of like living with these same few outfits. I have this huge wardrobe. And I'm like, yeah, it's like, it's okay. None of that means anything. You know, what means something is like the conversations that we get to have, the time that I get to spend with you, the gift that I've been given that I get to share, the way that I can, you know, recall any knowledge or any wisdom. And, you know, she's just like, keep yourself really clean. If you get triggered by something, stop the conversation before you spin off into, you know, the behaviors that you've ever done before in the past. Just excuse yourself. And you know, that's big for me, because normally I'm like, and another thing, you know, like just needing to get the last word in. And now I'm just like going, you know what? I'm really triggered right now. I'm going to stop while I'm ahead. I love you, and I'll talk to you another time. And then go sleep for 8 or 10 hours, and I feel much better, you know, rather than, oh, by the way, there's about to be a burst of my mother and her boyfriend coming into the house, because this is where I'm staying right now. I figure out what's next, you know. So Archangel Michael says, last night I had this craving for pizza, you know, just a slice of Sicilian pizza with Italian sausage. And he's like, okay, talk to me about that. What else is going on? And I'm like, well, I'm frustrated. And he goes, okay. So you think pizza's a solution? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, okay, breathe into that. And I breathed into it. And he's like, what do you feel like now? And I go, tuna fish, you know? So it's just like making different choices, but instead of reacting to something, like taking a breath, just being with it. Metatron had a beautiful long conversation with me yesterday. And he said, when you feel like you want to react to something, take a breath and just say no and walk away. Okay, here they come. Just a lot of energy. So, you know, the end of the spiritual cycle is supposedly we're going through it's this big portal in the sky, the energy. Anyway. So really all there ever is to do is to love in each and every moment, to forgive in each and every moment. And the more that we can do that, the less we're going to be bringing back to us something that we need to repeat, you know, again and again and again. The photon belt, that's what it is. The name just landed in my head. So there's a photon belt, which is this huge, big belt of energy. It's kind of like going through the asteroid belt, I would guess. And it's going to impact and affect us so deeply, the energy as we go through this. And I guess it's a 26,000 year cycle. So the last 26,000 year cycle is when Atlantis was smashed to smithereens. And Priyanka sent me this fascinating piece of information about Atlantis last night. I had these past life memories, and there was this point in my life where all these people were like, oh, you were one of the dark queens in Atlantis. So you were one of the people that, you know, programmed the crystals to grow the wrong way. And I was like, what the hell? So I went and I did my own past life work on it. And I was like, yeah, there were 8 of us, kings and queens. There were, you know, 4 queens and 4 kings. And we were in charge of like programming the crystals, and the crystals always used to go up, and we were given misinformation, and we were told to program the crystals down. And we were told that, you know, there was going to be this big cataclysm. So we were all told to point the crystals down, and it would stop the forces of what was coming. Well, you know, pointing the crystals down caused exactly the cataclysm to occur. And I just remember my terror every time I had to go across a bridge, like the bridge was going to, you know, there's this tidal wave that was going to come. And movies like Movies like the Titanic or the Unsinkable Miley Brown were like fascinating to me, like some big wave coming and washing everything out. So Priyanka found this piece of information about this one person who was in QHHT hypnosis and said, yeah, I was the one that told them all to program the crystals. I was like, oh my God, it wasn't so evil and dark. Maybe I just got some bad intel. Anyway, so 26,000 years ago. So there's 26,000 years and it goes 2,000 years and then 11,000 years and then 2,000 years and then 11,000 years. It makes up this 26,000 year cycle. And it's 11,000 years of darkness, 2,000 years of light, 11,000 years of darkness, and 2,000 years of light. And we're coming into the 2,000 years of light that's going to cause everything to kind of go topsy-turvy for us. I had Poseidon come to me many, many years ago and said, you know, greetings, sister, will you come with me? And Athena did the same thing. And she's like, I am Athena, will you come with me? And they took me under the ocean and showed me the civilizations that live underneath the ocean. So there's a lot more going on here than we're aware of. There's a lot more that's been hidden from us, you know, than we're aware of. And one of the things that I do is I train people how to read the Akashic records, how to go and do past life work, how to go in and do that healing work, not just for information, not for the celebrity of it, but for the healing modalities that go with it. And, you know, if that's something that you're interested in, we can give you more information about. But, you know, there's a lot of inner work for us to do, Hathor is saying, and a lot of manifestation for us to do as well. So I think that's about all I have. Carol, does that answer your question, my love?
That's fine. Yeah, I'm just concerned for myself because I think I've got a lot of things that need to be clear and stuff. So I'm working on it.
Well, we can do it. Each and every moment of our lives is just continue to work on it. And they know that we're efforting to put our best foot forward with all of this. And that's really, you know, what we're doing. So, you know, with that best intention, the only way that we can go is forward.
Can I ask a quick question about receiving energy? Because that was something that was mentioned, was that to be in a good place for receiving energy. And I know this is something I've struggled with, you know, and so just if there's anything that can help us to settle into, to open more to receiving energy or whatever suggestions.
Yeah, it's interesting. Metatron and I talked for about an hour yesterday, and Chrissy, Archangel Michael has been coming forth like this total, I'm going to show you what love is. I love you. You know, you, anyway. So I talked to Metatron and I'm like, am I having an acid flashback? Not that I've ever tried acid, but is this really real? And he's like, yeah, it's really Michael. And he's coming to show you what it is to be the beloved. And I said, you know, Metatron, many years ago when I was training with you, about 6 years ago, I said, you had me bring Athena in, and then you had me bring Aphrodite in, and then all of a sudden Venus showed up. And I said, I know that Hathor is an aspect of Venus and Aphrodite and, you know, all that. And he said, yes. And he said, look, everybody has a signature. And, you know, ultimately everybody is one, but not really. He said, we all have these distinct aspects to us. He said, but you carry the energy of Hathor, Athena, Aphrodite, and Venus. He said, who is Venus to Archangel Michael? And I said, a beloved. And he said, exactly. And who is Archangel Michael to Venus? And I said, a beloved. And he said, exactly. He said, when you can own the aspect of you that is Venus, you will understand how much Michael is in love with you. And you will allow yourself to receive what it is. He said, you're much better at giving than you are at receiving. And Chrissy, I know that you and I both have that. He said, so what you need to do as the goddess of love is to allow yourself to receive the love that you give so freely. So I am in this process of opening my heart and opening my being to receive love. And that is probably the single greatest piece of sisterly, you know, motherly, goddessly wisdom I could give to you is, I know how much you give. I know how much you give to your man. I know how much you give to your clients. I know how much you give to the kids. But baby, right now, what you need to do is to really learn to receive. Really, really learn to receive. That's the journey we're all on. because it's in the receiving of the love that we are filled to be able to keep giving, because otherwise we're just giving and we empty our cups. Imagine if we can just always have our cups full, because we're allowing ourselves to receive as much as we're giving out. We're just like, it pours in and then it pours out, instead of it just pours out all the time and we're empty. Does that make sense?
Definitely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, baby. You're so welcome. Thank you, everybody. I love you. I'm grateful for you. Thank you so much for being here. It has been my absolute honor. If you want to come on this journey with me in Hathor, she's going to spend 2 hours, man. She's going to go into this. She's got meditations. She's got the specific, like there's a whole diagram that we have for manifestation. And she's going to go even more deeply into the Egyptian high magic. So if that's something that you'd like to do, you know, Priyanka's dropped the link. We're going to be putting the links up on Facebook and such, so you can find us there as well. So I thank you all so much for being here. And thank you to everybody out on Facebook and to everybody who gets a chance to watch this later. Priyanka's going to be emailing this link out to, we're going to create a YouTube video. It'll go out to everybody who registered, because I know there's a bunch of people who wanted to watch and weren't able to attend. So my love to all of you. Talk to you all soon. Blessings.